Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are taking a look at my bag. What is in my FPV bag? So, if this sounds like your kind of thing, stick around. Let's dive right in. Alright, so this is the Ethics backpack. It's been around for like ever. It's an old bag at this point. Let's take a look. Let's see what I've got. Alright, so first up, I guess we'll go through the accessories, the smaller things first, and then we'll dive into the larger things. So I always carry around with me an Action 2 and an Action 2 screen. Super important for unloading footage. With that, I've got my little Altoid case of SD cards and screen protectors, things like that. I always have extra of these round guys that go right onto the Action 2. A must-have. Get them in like a little 3 or 4 pack. And then I've got micro SDs, and then I've got the adapter cards as well. They're also really important to have at all times in case you want to dump footage. So I've got that. I've got a little grippy on the bottom of this just so it doesn't slide around too much. All right, then I've got camera butter ND filters. Now this is for a GoPro, and truth be told, I don't use these very often, but it's a, I got the camera butter. It's the 8, 16, and I think I have a 32. Yeah, 6. So, standard issue, nothing special. Got a bunch of mini zip ties as well. Always have these guys. They're just like loose in my bag. It's kind of a mess. What else? Got a GoPro battery. All right, that's that pouch. Let's go on the inside. All right, so on the inside here, we've got electrical tape. This is my little solder cleaner. It's another Altoid case. I've used this forever, and it's just filled with steel wool. So whenever you clean the tip, you just use that. And I use this both at home and on the go. I don't have like a soldering station or anything, and I find this to be like all that I need, honestly. This is all that I need. Goes with me everywhere. Super beat up. Does the job. I've got this TBS solder. This is probably the best solder I've ever owned, and I'll tell you why. It's lasted me for close to 3 years at this point. So that's a good perk, and I solder a lot too. But it's a really good thickness. It's the it's 63/37 between tin and lead, flux 1.8%, and it's a 0.5 millimeter diameter. Excellent, excellent, excellent size, especially for small parts that we solder. And then I've got a TS100 with a fairly sharp tip on it. You can see that, right? It's a little beat up. I put a little piece of Velcro on it, and then that way I've got Velcro on the top of this, so when I'm done, I could just rest this on it. So it's good, like if you're soldering in the car or something, or you're kind of like in a weird spot, you could always just stick this on it, and it just doesn't go anywhere. So I like that. That's that pocket. Let's see here. Parts bag. So this is bag 1 of 2. So technically I always have like a shopping bag with me with a second one of these, which I'll show you as well. But we've got all aluminum screws in here, and this is just different lengths that I use in my build, in my drone. So I just always have tons of spares of these. Cameras, camera screws, little plastic nuts for the flight controller, basically lenses, anything I need for camera things. I can basically rebuild an entire drone from these parts, and then some. And this is just stuff that I've accumulated over the years. Different types of wiring harnesses. This is just like a spaghetti mess of things. And I'll usually just like take little wires here and there as I need things. And then I've got ESC to flight controller cabling as well. extra tracer antennas and tracer receiver. This is kind of like more camera stuff, and I've got like the OSD board that I still use for the analog setup, camera, extra camera plate with camera in it already, and some other like accessories. I got a VTX in here, got a couple VTXs in here, stuff like that. Steel hardware, nothing special. More wiring harnesses that I can always just like pull from, and I do occasionally. Got heat shrink wrapping, like whatever comes with the TBS VTXs, I just keep it all, and I use it as little as possible because it's really good stuff actually, and it just shrinks. It's like this sharp, flaky stuff. It's good though. It's really, really good. I like it. So I use that sparingly. It's like gold. I've got a FetTech spike absorber. What this does is it cuts off the voltage at whatever it's set to. I forget what it is. It's like 25.2 max. So anything above 25.2, this slices it off the top. So it just like helps preserve your electronics. It's a FetTech thing, but you can use it for any drone you might have. Got some clear plastic washers. I use this between the ESC and the board. Sorry, the ESC and the frame itself. So usually you'll have like the metal standoffs. I put these down first, and it just gives that extra layer between the metal hardware and the ESC, because otherwise you can arc them and fry your ESC. So I've learned that the hard way. Got plastic skids for the Apex. I'm still rocking the old school Apex, the analog version, but I have some digital stuff too. We've got a bag of flight controllers and ESCs. So I've got spare, these look like, this looks like an F7. I've got a couple F7s in here. I think I have a G4 in here. This is all FetTech stuff. And then I've got a 45 amp ESC. I've also got extra XT60 in here, antennas, VTXs, more expensive electronics. It's rare that I go in there. And then I've got kind of like an assortment of metal, like steel hardware. So it's just like steel button head screws, camera screws, standoffs, more steel hardware, and I've got microphones. I don't use these because right now I have the OSD boards, but for a while I was using these. These are the Rush AGC mics. They're like $6 a pop, and they're fantastic. So if you need a microphone, if you're into that, definitely worth it. Sorry, I keep looking over here. It's like I'm looking out and I'm looking to make sure everything's in focus. All right, let's take a look at let's finish up the parts. Is it this bag? It's not this bag. All right, and I always go with a Target bag. Very fancy, as you can tell. I travel in style. Props. These are the GemFan. These are the new proxy props. So super good if you haven't tried them yet. GemFan proxy. They're 5127. Excellent. More props. Chest cam. This is a GoPro 10. Latest edition of the GoPro 10. I usually throw like a 16 gig card in it or whatever. And I run, I think it's on, what do I set it to? Let's see. 1080, 30, linear for my chest cam. So if you're ever wondering what I do for that, it's that. Oh, this is cool. Okay. I like this. So I'll show you guys this, and I'll show you this. And I'm going to drop a link in the description for some of the stuff. But lighter fluid, a Butler torch, and this guy. This is really good for the upcoming winter season. It's basically a giant lighter, but it's a hand warmer, actually. So you fill it with lighter fluid, you light it, and then this thing stays warm for like 8 hours. And it comes with a little pouch, too. So when you're freezing your butt off and you're trying to fly, just keep this in your hoodie pocket, and it's super, super convenient and nice to have. So I start carrying that around now. We're back in that season again. I've got random props and stuff in here. Blue tack, fun tack. This stuff is great for if you're flying at a bando and you're trying to like degrossify your motors, because it sticks to everything, and you can get out like that magnetic dust and everything that gets sucked up in there, like rust and whatever. That stuff is really good for cleaning it out. You can get it on Amazon. It's like $4. Parts 2.0. Motors. I'm low on motors, but these are still rocking the V5 steel motors. However, I think I'm gonna try those Axis flying motors. The 2307. I think there's like an 1850 or 1860 version. I really want to try those out. So these might be on their way out. And I've got quite the collection of bells. So, you know, I've gotten my use out of that, and it might be time to move on. So if you're interested, just thought I'd share that. Got Apex parts, spare parts, carbon frame parts in here. This is kind of like the body kit bag. Arms. Just got like Apex arms and stuff like that. That's everything for that one. All right, let's get into the bigger things. Got the boring stuff out of the way. Show you the goggles. Nothing special at this point. Still rocking the H2O2s. They're very dirty, but it's got a fusion on it. And I've got these Ethics. I've got an Ethics antenna, which is the Mad Mushroom. I actually just got a new one of this because the other one broke. I've got a patch, which I find myself not using anymore. And this is what I've been using. I've been using a Triumph Pro as my secondary antenna. This is great. I love that. Goggles are pretty standard issue. They're kind of gross. I need new face foam, and they're falling apart. But I'm rocking a 4,000 milliamp hour Thunder Power goggle battery, which also needs to be replaced soon. And that's pretty much the goggle setup. Nothing to write home about. I love the goggles, clearly, and I'm just going to keep using it until I get so fed up with analog that I switch. But I have not switched yet. And until HD0 is not a $700 or $800 investment, I'm going to stay where I'm at. So, going to keep that. All right. Batteries. This is all stuff that fits in that Ethics bag. So, the heated bag. A lot of people have this. It's just like a lunchbox with batteries in it. And these are those steel lunar landers. I got Thunder Power batteries. I've been using them since 2019, pretty much exclusively. And I find that, yes, they're more expensive, and a lot of people get on their case about being like double the price or 3 times the price of like cheaper batteries. It's all up to you what you want to do. What works for me is I buy like 10 batteries a year, and then these last so long that I just like accumulate batteries. And yeah, they're not the newest necessarily, but they last forever. So I just like end up with a ton of these batteries, and they're still more or less good. They're good for practice and whatnot, but that I've just had better experience with them, and they last like they're very durable, and they seem to bounce back really well, especially if you go too low in voltage. Like if you go down to like 3.3 or 3.4 consistently, they're pretty good about coming back to life. So, all right, radio. Green lanyard, nothing special. The radio is pretty much stock. I painted it. I've got a video on it, maybe? I'm not sure. I painted it. I got a clear case for it. I think it's like midnight blue with glitter in it. I think it's a badass radio, my opinion. Got a little Velcro for here if I want to stick anything there. I've got the V2 gimbals on it, so they fold in, which is kind of cool. My sticks are pretty loose. I gotta like lubricate them, but usually this is like on the verge of falling. So I keep a very loose throttle, and then everything else is just kind of smooth or whatever. The only modification I've made to it is I've got this power plug here, and it actually takes an XT60 to DC power. And why this is so awesome is because it's a heater. So I do a lot of cold weather flying. You just pop that in, plug a battery in, and this thing heats up, and it warms my hands while I fly. So keeps me on the sticks. It keeps me flying. I have a video on that process, although it did get some hate, but it's what works for me. It's whatever works for you. And yeah, that's my bag. I'm still rocking the this is the steel build. Nothing fancy. This is like a 2019 build that just not changing. And the reason why I'm not changing is because the Apex is just an excellent frame. I'm not a fan of the Evo so much because I don't know what they're doing with that camera plate situation. So not a fan of that. And not a super big fan of the HD version of this frame because it's just like, I know it's built wider and longer for the HD gear, but it's just heavier, and I just like this. I think this is just this is like a perfect frame. So until something else comes out that is like readily available where I could just order the parts and I know that they're going to be in stock, I'm just going to keep this till that changes. And yeah. Oh, I'll show you guys my tools. This is pretty good too. And then we'll wrap up the video because nobody's watching it by this point. I've got a Husky Hex tool set. It's got different sizes in the back. So it has like a 1.5, it has a 2, 2.5, stuff like that. It's fine. It's kind of not the best. Truthfully, it's not my favorite. Let's just see what this is. All right, so we've got pliers, needle nose pliers, cutters, have to have cutters. I use those so much. I've got a smoke stopper in there. This thing is great because you can literally plug everything in and then click the on button. So it gives you like a nice clean slate to test. And then you can also increase the throughput to 2 amps, I think. Yeah, 1 or 2 amps. And I think I got this from Race Day Quads. So, it's cool. I've got the Ethics prop tool. Zzz. Got them both, baby! Rolling deep. They're great. They've got a 2mm and a 2.5mm on built into it. And then this guy is a flathead and a 1.5. And it turns in one way, so you can tighten and loosen. And honestly, this is like the best innovation so far. Got another Hex, Torx, whatever driver. It's from like an iFixit thing. I've got a Husky. This is a screwdriver, Phillips head and flathead thing. Same thing. It's got extra tips in the back. This thing's good. This is just well made. The other one's made out of crap. I don't know what they did. And then, if you've followed my channel at all, you know I love these tweezers. If you could ever get yourself one of these, must have. Must have, must have. Use them for like everything. Then I've got other crappy tweezers, and I've got an X-Acto knife. Never use it, but I just have it. And then this thing is great. This is the last thing. I'll close on this. One of these plastic pointer thingies. So it's really good for like pressing buttons, especially when you're all plugged in, ready to go. You could just push this in and you can do a little prying with it too. It's pretty good. Anyway, I'm going to have a link. I have a gear page that I set up a couple years ago. It's it kind of lays out a lot of this stuff. So I'll put a link in the description if you want to check it out. And if you go to that page, if you want to save yourself 4% at Get FPV, I've got an exclusive coupon that's good through the end of the year. So you guys, like, if you want to just save money, I know we have Black Friday and super sales are coming on and stuff like that, but not everything's going to be on sale. And a lot of times the stuff that is on sale is like, you might not want it, but with a 4% off, I think it covers everything but DJI equipment, which is kind of like standard that they don't cover that. But you could save 4% and it saves you money. And yes, it makes me a little money. I make like $2 a sale, but it helps my channel out and saves you money. So it's a win-win situation. All right, anyway, thanks for checking out my bag. I'll catch you on the next video very soon.